my name is Trina. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking and planning to make the perfect fall Halloween TBR. I felt this last year where I started thinking about Halloween books to read way too late last October, and I was like, no, in 2025 I'm going to plan ahead. I'm going to make my plan. So every time this year a book has come up that I thought, oh my god, this would be the perfect book to read around Halloween time, I've put it in a list. And now it's time to compile that list, organize it up, and make my plans for the next month and a half of reading. I've done one other seasonal TBR on this channel, like a summer TBR. This isn't quite like that because it's not, some of them are fall books, but most of these are specifically Halloween books, like spooky books. So it's a little bit different. Also, I did want to say my background, if it's confusing anyone who's recently come to my channel. I'm currently back in California. I'm back in the US, and it's actually for my birthday, which is in early September, but being back in the US has made me realize like how early Halloween hype starts here. Like everything is slowly becoming like the fall season, everything becoming Halloween themed. Like I went into Costco and Costco already has Christmas stuff up, which I feel like is a bit rushed. So much Halloween stuff already all around me. I even got this mug here for my birthday that I'm obsessed with for my sister, which is why I had to use it for this Halloween video. But that being said, that has all come together to make me really, really excited to get to my Halloween reading. Here, I'll put this, that's fine there, right? I just have to make sure to not knock it over. It is full of tea, but it's too hot for me right now. Let's start off with the classic. Yeah, let's just talk about some classics to start off with that I want to get to this Halloween. Some of them are like, maybe not, but the one I definitely know I want to get to in the next month or two is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This has been my plan since last year that I was going to read this fall of this year, and I'm really excited to finally get to it. I think that the plot of the book is that she, the main character gets married and moves to this like gothic manor, and it may or may not be haunted by her new husband's like dead wife, Rebecca. If that sounds like, what are you talking about, Trina? That's not the plot of the book, my bad. That is just what I have been thinking about, what I've been thinking about this book for the last 2 years. But other than that, I do like to go into my books generally blind. Last fall, I read kind of, not really a gothic novel, kind of like a satirical take on the gothic, but I read A Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, and I loved that book so much. I loved reading it in October. So that's why Rebecca is an actual gothic novel, so I'll go into it with all the seriousness it demands. I have a physical copy somewhere that I found in a little free library, but definitely want to pick up Rebecca this fall season. The other two classics are like maybes. The first one is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I do definitely want to finish this book by the end of the year. I'm just not totally sure when I'm looking at it. Is this a fall book or is it more of a winter book? Or does it really not matter and I should stop caring so much? I like to optimize my books so I enjoy them the most possible, and I really, really want to enjoy The Picture of Dorian Gray, so I want to make sure that I'm reading it in the best possible season. So let me know if you think I should read The Picture of Dorian Gray more like October-y or maybe more like November, December time. Either way, I know I want to read it by the end of the year, but just a question of when. I think it could maybe fit like a nice post-Halloween lull, but we'll see how exhausted Rebecca makes me. And then the only other classic I was not at all considering reading up until like this week, because I found at a library sale for $2 this gorgeous copy of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I don't know if it's gonna pick up on the camera, but it's like this fun cartoon style cover art. This is the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition. It even has like on the flaps on the inside the plot of the story, like summarized in a cartoon style. It's the actual regular book. It's not like a graphic novel version of the book. It's just this cover, and I was obsessed with it and I purchased it, and I read the books I purchased, so now I'm like, I can add this to the TBR this fall because I know it's not like a super hard book to get to. It's only a few hundred pages, and so if I'm like really feeling more classics, this could definitely be on the agenda for that. And I did want to shout it out just to brag about that cover I found because it was $2 and I love it so much. But those were all the classics. The rest of the books I've sort of divided into some other categories, but I wanted to start off with mentioning some books that I feel like are maybe more September vibed than like October, Halloween, like real crunch time. The first book that I would maybe say more September-y is a book that I recently heard about and I'm really, really excited to read, called Ink, Blood, Sister, Scribe by Emma Törzs. I really am intrigued by this story because it seems like it's about sisters and witchcraft, and I feel like September is witchcraft season. Like it's been witchcraft season all summer for me, but like I'm happy to continue reading witchy books. And it's about sisters, and there are sapphic characters as well, so it's perfect for Sapphic September. You know, I have to match all the spooky season, Sapphic September, witch, all of it together, and this feels like the perfect book to like encompass all of that. I don't think it's like especially spooky or scary or anything like that, but it kind of maybe gives that like early fall September vibe. At least I hope it will. It just came in from my library hold, so I'm really, really excited to pick this one up. I know very little about it otherwise, just how I like it for most of my fantasy books, but I know it's about two estranged half-sisters who are guarding their family's library of magic books, or like they have access to a bunch of books of magic, books that are potentially dangerous, and could cause harm to them or their family. But like that's so vague, and I don't know what like the driving force of the plot is going to be, or if there even is going to be one. But either way, I'm really excited to pick it up. Another September-y book that I'm really, really excited to read is the new Andrew Joseph White book, You Weren't Meant to Be Human. I've mentioned this a couple times on my channel. This just came out in early September, so I had to buy a new copy because I love Andrew Joseph White, one of my favorite authors. And this is his adult debut, and it's horror sci-fi-y, I believe. At least I think it involves aliens. Yes, it says Alien Meets Midsommar in the inside cover, so I know I'm gonna enjoy this no matter what. I love Andrew Joseph White's writing style, and I feel like could also be an October-y book, but I'm saying it's a September book because I'm gonna read it in September because I just picked it up this week. I'm so, so excited to finally get to it. Basically, the story follows Crane, I think his name is. Yeah, Crane, who they're living in like a post-alien invasion West Virginia, and Crane is fine with it because he's been able to transition and like live as a trans man, but he gets pregnant by his boyfriend in the book, like, and the aliens seem to not want him to get an abortion and want to like force him to have the baby. If you're like, what? I'm like, what? Because I think that sounds like such a sick concept. I think there's so much potential to go into so many important issues like Andrew Joseph White does in all of his books, while also having incredible spooky sci-fi vibes. And I honestly enjoyed every single spooky sci-fi I've ever picked up. Like, I like that combination of genres, horror sci-fi, so I know I'm gonna love this, not just because of the author, but also because I think the story itself sounds sick. So that is on my fall TBR for September. And then another September book, this one might be more of a late September book that I'm really excited to pick up, is Slewfoot by Brom. This is another witchy book, which is why I feel like I want to pick it up in September, because it kind of has like I'm picturing like East Coast September, like that slow changing into cold weather. This is about a girl who I believe gets accused of witchcraft and may or may not be actually doing witchcraft. And I think it's somewhat of a revenge story. Honestly, when I hear people describe it, it kind of gives the Scarlet Letter, just like with the devil. I don't know how accurate that is, but I'm picturing that kind of like small town New England setting, which I think sounds incredible. A lot of people talk about Slewfoot and have described it in 1,000 different ways, so I think it's time that I finally pick it up, especially if it involves witches, because I'm currently on my witch book arc, so it's the perfect time to pick up Slewfoot by Brom. Okay, my next category is books. Now we're in October, we're in the Halloween season. I'm planning to read these around Halloween because I have a little list of vampire books that I've built up that I'm so, so excited to get to. Some of these are very new to the list, so they won't take priority. I'll start with the ones that will take priority for me. First off, I really want to pick up the graphic novel Fangs by Sarah Anderson. This is a like cute, quirky, less spooky, more sweet graphic novel about a romance between a werewolf and a vampire, I believe. I saw it recommended by Katie is Reading, one of my favorite booktubers, and it looked so amazing. And then I saw it in a bookstore. I don't have that copy with me right now, but I saw it in a bookstore and I bought it. And because normally I don't like reading graphic novels unless I have a physical copy. Now I have a physical copy. I'm really, really excited to pick it up. It seems like a good maybe transition book or like a break book. Maybe if I'm like sick of like spooky, scary books, then I definitely want to pick it up for like a bit of light reading. I really like the art style too. I thought it looked so cute. So Fangs is definitely on the agenda for October. Also definitely on the agenda, if my library pulls through, is I'm really excited to read Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is the sequel to Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which came out a couple years ago, last year. I'm sure you've heard mixed things about it. It is a romantasy. The original Bride was a romantasy between a werewolf and a vampire. I'm pretty sure Mate is also a romantasy between a werewolf and a vampire. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's still set in this world where there's a human faction, a werewolf faction, and a vampire faction that don't get along. In the first book, Bride, there was an arranged marriage where the main characters fell in love eventually because it was a romance. In Mate, I genuinely have no idea what's going to happen. Like, I don't know the characters that are going to be in it. I don't know anything. I just know that I had such a fun time with Bride. I read it in one day when I read it. It's one of the only Ali Hazelwood books I've actually read. So I have no like frame of reference for her storytelling other than I liked Bride, I had a good time with it, and I definitely want to read Mate. But I'm not gonna buy it, so that means I have to rely on being like first on Libby the day it's released. Will I be able to manage that? We will see. I don't know. I mean, my hold may not come through for this because it's releasing on the 7th of October, if I remember correctly, and that doesn't leave me a huge time frame to get it in from the library, but hopefully I will. Hopefully I will, and then I really want to get to it if I can. It's definitely a priority, at least for the fall, because I want to read it, and I think it would be really fun, and I need more fun books in my life right now because I'm in a bit of a slump. Another vampire book I have that I 100% want to pick up in October is one that I didn't get to last year. It came as a local book recommendation from my local bookshop back when I lived in DC, and that is Lucy Undying by Kiersten White. At the time, I remember they gave me 2 vampire recommendations, Lucy Undying and House of Hunger. I read House of Hunger and enjoyed it, honestly. I thought it was pretty good, but I really wanted to read Lucy Undying. It just didn't come in from the library in time for last Halloween. That's fine. This year, it's on my holds, and it will be coming in October. It'll be coming in the perfect time, so I definitely desperately want to pick this up. This is a retelling, expansion, I don't really know what the correct word would be, but it's an expansion of the story in Dracula, focusing specifically on one of the side characters in Dracula, Lucy, one of Dracula's victims, brides, and it sort of follows her life after she has escaped the storyline of Dracula, and it is sapphic as well. But I 100% would love to pick up Lucy Undying. And speaking also of sapphic vampires and Carmilla, another book that I'm considering getting to is Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. I feel like it just appeared out of nowhere, but I saw Jan talk about it over at Jan Agaton, and I really thought that sounded amazing. Hungerstone is a retelling of Carmilla, and while Carmilla, the original, is not explicitly sapphic, if you read the version with Carmen Maria Machado's commentary or footnotes, that added the correct sapphic atmosphere to that book, and Hungerstone is explicitly sapphic. 100% excited to get to this book at some point. Whether or not, it's kind of a new addition to the list because I just saw it recommended, so whether or not I get to it this October, we will see. We'll see. It depends on which holds do or do not come through, or if any other books on the list are a DNF. I do like to finish TBRs when I set them, but there's no pressure. There's no pressure. The last 2 books I have for this spooky Halloween TBR are both books I'm going to read like on Halloween or around Halloween. The first one is not by choice, but it's because that's when it's being released. I'm really excited to pick up Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. This is coming out October 28th. So while I feel like Hazelthorn gives more September-y vibes personally, it's not coming out until October 28th, so that's when I'm gonna read it probably, or just about like on Halloween. This is by the same author who wrote Don't Let the Forest In, which was a book I read earlier this year. I thought it was really beautifully written, really exciting, and it feels like, I don't know, I've heard good things by Hazelthorn. It feels like maybe C.G. Drews is just getting better and better, which is amazing, but I've heard this is like a Secret Garden style book about 2 boys growing up on the same like manor or property or land, but they can't interact with each other because one of them tried to kill the other when they were young. I don't know very much else about it, but in Don't Let the Forest In, C.G. Drews had this like beautiful lyrical writing style describing the forest and these monsters, and I just think it's gonna be gorgeous, and I'm really excited to pick it up this fall. It just won't be until my Kindle hold comes through after it's released, October 28th. So it might end up being more like November, but it is a book that I associate heavily with this fall's reading, so I had to mention it, and I'm excited to pick that up. And then the last book that I plan on reading on Halloween is going to be Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Last year I did a Halloween reading vlog where I read Ninth House for the first time. That's the first book in this series, in the Alex Stern trilogy I think it's going to be now. I don't know, is it a series, a trilogy? But in that first Alex Stern book, Ninth House, I fell in love. I love that book. I thought it was really, really good. I kind of want to reread it before reading Hellbent. Maybe I'll reread Ninth House before reading Hellbent. I feel like it hasn't been so long that I haven't forgotten what happened in Ninth House, but maybe I've forgotten some of like my emotional attachment to the characters, so maybe rereading Ninth House would be helpful. But Hellbent is the sequel. Ninth House is a dark academia fantasy set on Yale's campus following secret societies of like magic practitioners in Yale, and we're following the main character Alex Stern, who kind of doesn't really want to be there or doesn't really know why she's there. I think Hellbent will pick up probably on the plot point where we left off in Ninth House, which will be very interesting. And I'm also really glad to know that there's going to be a third book, so that I'm not picking up Hellbent thinking that it's going to be the end of a duology, that there is going to be a third book at some point. So yes, I'm very, very excited to pick this up on Halloween, just like I picked up Ninth House, because I felt like that gave great spooky vibes. It may not be like the scariest thing ever, but I'm not really much of a thriller reader either way. But it had like that perfect atmosphere that I'm hoping will continue when I read Hellbent. With that, that is my October TBR. It's a lot. It is a lot, and I'm kind of in a reading slump right now, but I've been really, really excited for these books, so I'm gonna put it out there in the universe that I get to them and that I enjoy them and I feel really motivated to read all of them. I feel like generally in a normal month, this would be a super manageable list of books, but I am also planning to continue to read like a couple nonfictions in between, a couple of fantasy books, like high fantasy books in between. So I'm not just gonna be reading Halloween books for the next month and a half, which like doesn't leave me that much time, but I do it to myself, and I'm really excited to make the list anyways and see how many of these I get to. If you've read any of them, please let me know. Then I will absolutely prioritize any ones that you say that I should prioritize in the comments below. Or if there are any that you're especially excited to see me read, then definitely let me know. It's like the added motivation that will help me actually pick up the book. But with that, I just want to thank you so, so much for watching. I hope you are having a great beginning of September. If you live in countries that celebrate Halloween, I hope you're starting to feel those wonderful spooky vibes. If you don't, I hope you're starting to enjoy the fall weather, because I think that also creates great atmosphere. Just before I flew from Sweden, some of like the trees were starting to turn orange already, and I was like, it's happening, fall is coming. That's gonna be gorgeous, and I'm very excited. But once again, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and I will see you in my next video pretty soon. Bye!